Music, one of life's greatest pleasures, has tremendous power. The power to bring a tear to the eye or quiet a racing mind. Music also has the power to heal and has been used through the ages to treat depression, create energy, induce sleep, relieve chronic pain, reduce stress, and even cure diseases. And now, musician and author Michael Tyrrell has created Whole Tones, the healing frequency music projects. These frequencies were studied in the music of King David and believed to have astounding healing effects. Now you can benefit from this revitalized ancient healing music therapy simply by listening daily to this music in the comfort of your own home, car, or office. Reward yourself with the gift of healing and transformation. Don't miss this opportunity to get an absolutely free sample of this music so that you can begin benefiting right away. Just visit WholeTonesLive.com and get a free sample of these soothing, relaxing, revitalizing musical tones. Visit WholeTonesLive.com today for your free sample. That's WHOLETONES Live.com. WholeTonesLive.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Journey to Success Radio, a show featuring people and companies who are making a positive contribution to the world. This show will help you learn how to apply success principles in every area of your life so that you can make the most out of your skills and talents and accomplish more of your goals. To find out more about the show, please visit www.journeytosuccessradio.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Journey to Success Radio Network. My name is Tom Too Tall Cunningham. I'm a Napoleon Hill Foundation certified instructor and resiliency expert, helping people to think, speak, and act positively through the many and varied challenges of life. We have an exciting show today. For me, it's the most exciting show I've done in 2015 or in a long recent memory, and we'll be introducing our guest soon. Joining me as co-host today is my amazing friend, Gary Mortell. Gary, tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we introduce our amazing guest today.
Hi, Tom. This is Gary W. Mortell. I sell cars at Car City Motors in St. Joseph, Missouri. I sell Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler. So if you need a car, you call me at 816-724-0376. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks so much, Gary, and nice to have you. Your very first show. Hey,
yes.
Welcome to the show. So our guest today, I am excited, and Gary is excited about our guest today. He's the one who told me about him. Donn Harrison is the 2015 Teacher of the Year in the United States, which generates enormous respect from me. That is an accomplishment, and I'm really excited to have him on the show today. As an introduction to Donn, I'm going to read the letter that his wife wrote to the Live with Kelly and Michael show. Very, very touching letter, and you'll see why they had him on the show after I read this letter. She wrote, Donn Harrison is a teacher that gives his all to his students and the school. He gives of his thoughts, time, energy, and actions. Donn is a person that can't say no if he is needed. Donn has taught for 21 years in Cameron and has won many community awards of being top teacher, firefighter, and emergency medical technician. He is well thought of throughout the town and highly loved by many. He is also actively involved in the church. Donn became an EMT when a student fell on the playground and he felt like he didn't know enough to help her well. Since then, he got certified and worked summers and weekends on the ambulance to keep up his knowledge. People in town love his humor and compassion when dealing with situations. Donn is the school crossing guard and greets families each morning with a smile and treats for the dogs. No matter if it's over 100 degrees or minus 20, which I can associate with here in Toronto. With freezing rain, he is out there and smiling. It starts so many off to a great start seeing him. Donn announces track meets, basketball games, prom, and other events as needed. He is the voice of Cameron and has a way to make events humorous and enjoyable. In the community, he bakes cakes for people, plays Santa Claus, gives his time to the church, fights fires, and works on the ambulance. He has missed Christmas dinner with his family and other events while helping others. He is also a fabulous dad to 2 wonderful young men. The letter goes on from there, but you can get the gist of the type of person we have on the call today. Welcome to the show today, Donn.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, honestly. This is really neat.
It's an exciting honor for both Gary and I to have you on the show. That is an amazing honor to be Teacher of the Year and teaching kindergarten. I think that would drive me somewhat nuts on most days.
It's a blast. It really is a blast. Every year it is.
But it sounds like teacher is just like one part of your life, although the one you get the most recognition for. You're involved in so many other things in the community and the school that it seems like the whole town probably knows you.
Yeah, you grow up in a small town and you kind of learn. We actually moved from a larger town to here, so we learned pretty quickly that everybody works together on a lot of different things. You get to see a lot of people all day long. It's like walking around with family, to be honest with you. Small towns are great, but it's an honor to be thought of that way.
It is, isn't it? My dad comes from a small town, and, to walk like 5 doors down to the church takes him like 30 minutes because like 6 people stop him on the way. And it is nice like that. Well, Gary, you're the one who introduced me to Donn and told me about this amazing guy. Let's let you start off with a question for him.
Okay. Mr. Harrison, I know you probably would never admit it, but you're our hometown hero, and we appreciate you and all that you do. The first question I have is, you're quoted as saying, all kids are teachable and important. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, exactly. I really think I've taught for years, 21 years here in Cameron, and a couple other preschools before that. And no matter the kids you meet, no matter where they are on the whole spectrum of scholars kind of a deal, there's things that they can be taught and that they're so important. Kids kind of get overlooked sometimes, and that would be, in my mind, one of the worst things that could happen as a kid comes through my classroom, comes through our school, is that they wouldn't feel that they're important. Kids are teachable. I mean, you look at different fans of the kids, and everybody has something to contribute to the class. It sounds kind of wild, but our corn is growing up here in Missouri at this time. I mean, and it's huge corn. We've got great rain. And I kind of think of that sometimes as kids. There's different sizes of corn, different varieties of corn, and it's just all the corn's important. I mean, it may not be the biggest and best ear, but it contributes, and there's something all kids can do, and for the classroom, for society when they get out of school. It's important to think of each kid is to not be overlooked. And I think that's something that it's easy to do as a teacher. You kind of focus your attention on the kids that, wow, she can read a book already. As far as a kindergartner, wow, he can do math. And you sometimes leave the other kids, and as a student when I was a kid, I wasn't exactly the top always in the class, so I knew what it was like to be kind of looked over. So, it's important for us as educators to think, hey, everybody that walks in there, wants to do their best and has something that they can contribute.
Yeah.
Is that hard to do, Donn? Because I remember when I was in school, and probably still is today, you have a percentage of the class that are brilliant, sharp, above average, easy to teach. Is it difficult to take time away from them to really be hands-on with maybe the students who are struggling or not understanding it the first time for various reasons? I know it's time-consuming, and when you have to, I was a bright student, and so when they had to take time to re-explain things to other students, I kind of got bored and sitting there and so is it hard to balance that?
It is, because you do have a wide range, And we do it a couple of ways. Years ago, I would just turn the class in on itself. Tying shoes would drive me crazy. Teaching a kid to tie his shoes. So I would take the kids that could tie their shoes, come on over here, show us how to do it. So they would get excited about, today I taught somebody how to tie their shoes. So that goes with reading, that goes with math skills. We'll find some kids that struggle in some other things, and to say, whoa, you're really good at math. Can you help these kids in math? They just blossom. I mean, it really, you can see their chest puff out, and they're just glad to help. And I mean, you can tell you've made their day, and you know that they are become, once again, an important part. What we've done recently is in the United States, we have what's called special education. So if someone needs a little extra help, they're sometimes put into a special education room. If you need a little bit of help, you get a little bit of time in that classroom. You need a lot of help, you spend a lot of time in that classroom. Well, we've done what we call co-teaching, and we've kind of been able to pilot that program with a couple other schools to say that we'll take 5 of those kids into our classroom that need, that can handle it, that need some to a lot of extra help, and the special ed teacher comes in the classroom. And if you were to walk into our classroom, I don't think either one of you guys would be able to say, he's the special ed teacher, she's the special ed teacher. I work with a great lady, and the way we work together, kids have such big successes. I mean, we're going around, 2 people are always better at anything, paddling a boat, teaching a classroom. So that co-teaching really has worked out. We found in the 2 years that we've done it, kids who started off needing just a little bit of help, we don't need any help the year after that. They have got those skills that are so important with having the kids help and an extra teacher in the room, and it really, really, things go really well with that. So, yeah, I mean, it is a struggle sometimes to be able to manage that, but that's a management kind of strategy. And if you use that where you turn it back on itself to have the kids who can do, teach the kids. I could stand up there all day long, doing cartwheels, but when some other kid tells it to another kid, boom, that really locks it in, I think.
Wow, what a brilliant strategy. And you probably learn a little bit about teaching as well when you listen to one of your students teaching one of the other kids. You could be like, wow, I'm taking notes here.
Yeah, they really can. And, I mean, they're hilarious about it. I mean, the 2 5-year-olds, working on something, tying shoes, holding the pencil, is hilarious to watch. It's a show every day.
Nice, and probably gives a lot of self-confidence to the student who's teaching as well.
And you can really build people up that way, and that's 5-year-olds, 10-yearolds, adults.
Exactly. Gary, let's get the next question out there.
All right, Mr. Harrison, could you talk to us about, you're quoted as saying, faith drives your life?
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to proselytize, but I think my faith is very important to me. I think, of course, every day I am motivated and inspired by those around me. My church community is so important to me. They are truly a second family to us. We cry together, laugh together. We're in contact most of the week. Social media is a great way for us to get in touch with each other if someone needs help, needs a hand up. Faith has been so important to my life, and I would just, and I'm not really too worried about where you find your faith. I mean, it's the Dalai Lama's 80th birthday, and people are celebrating, and that is so cool to see. They're something that's important to them. So it's not only just that I think my denomination, everybody needs to come to our church, but, whatever your faith is, it has to be, it has to drive your life. And I think that you need to live according to whatever principles you think are important, and get help from others around you, and let that drive your life. I think one thing I always remember as a kid, we had some really, really tough times, And, I mean, you know, I was reading your story, Tom. I know you've had some physical struggles in your life, and you were able to overcome those. And sort of similarly, I had, you know, as a little kid, we had financial struggles. And we were without a home for a while, and really, my mom, it was hard on my mom to admit it, and to get the help she needed. But first we went to the church, and the church reached out, helped us, provided so much for us in the way of a couch, food, that sort of thing. And then, you know, because you need those things, and then when we needed the emotional support, once again, our church was right there. And to be able to help kids is really, really, you know, an important thing. And, you know, faith really does need to, whatever faith you have, hold tight to that and embrace that.
Amen. Amen. And I can certainly agree with that. My Christian faith is probably the key to how I've been able to live with constant 24/7 never-ending pain throughout my body for 46 years. Sometimes I can't take it, but I have a creator and a God who can handle it for me. And so a lot of times I've just handed it off to God, like, okay, this is getting too much for me to handle. The pain is too bad. Lord, it's in your hands now. And even just doing that act of doing that just gives me a lot of comfort. Even if the pain doesn't lessen, at least I know, okay, I've handed it off to the man who can look after the pain for me. And so faith really does drive your life. And I imagine as a teacher, especially, to realize that every student in that class was created by God with a specific, special purpose by God. That must really make teaching different when you have that perspective on every student that's sitting in that class.
And you think, and exactly, you're exactly right. And you're such an inspiration to people, I mean, who physically say, oh, I'm tired today. What, you know, reading your story, you know, you can tell that you have really had to push yourself and rely on others and that faith to push you. And sometimes you push yourself, sometimes people push you behind you. You know, you're committed to speak somewhere, so you have to show up. But you're exactly right. When I think, you know, that just 5 years ago, that little kid in the classroom who might at the moment be driving me up the wall was brought home, you know, and loved and taken care of. You think, wow, you know, that really, and that there's a child of God and important, you know, it really does change the way you kind of act and react to kids on a day-to-day basis.
It sure does. It sure does. And if I were a parent and I had a kid in your class, it would be so nice to know that your faith is what drives your life, and that your faith is going to be shown through to my son or daughter in your teaching. It would give me a lot of comfort, and that would be a great thing. Now, you also, Gary and I both believe this, and I'm coaching Gary. Gary is one of my clients, and I know you believe that you have to motivate yourself first before you can motivate others. And it seems to make common sense, but common sense is not always common practice. And to motivate yourself, like a teacher is almost like an athlete. You got to show up when you're tired, when you're sick, when you're not feeling well, and you got to deliver an enthusiastic teaching session or lesson. Talk about motivating yourself before you can motivate these little 5-year-olds in your classroom.
Exactly, you are so right. I mean, and I did a little bit in a college play and learned that it is acting, and it's like you said, like as an athlete, you're acting. There's so much more to it because you can't. I mean, kids will pick up very quickly. You know, if you're having an off day, so to speak, they will pick up very quickly. And are you okay? Are you mad? Are you know? So I mean, you have to come in and throw everything to the side and say, it's, you know, it sounds corny, but it's like it's showtime. I've got to, you know, fake it till I make it sort of a deal. But to motivate yourself, you know, you feed off your coworkers. I'm so blessed to be able to work with some amazing teachers. We're almost a family. We joke with each other. We're able to let off steam with each other, and it's definitely behind the scenes in the locker room kind of a deal where, you know, if you're having a bad day, you can count on your coworkers to kind of help you out and get you going back on. But yeah, you have to motivate yourself and find things that are important, you know, and take that breath and get yourself away. I love to ride my bike. I love hopping on the bike. I rode 13 miles this morning. Gary can attest to you. It was a rainy day today here in Missouri, but I rode like a fool in the rain. I'm telling you, I had a blast. But it's good for your spirit, and whether that's yoga, walking, eating a jar of ice cream, whatever it is, whatever motivates you, you have to keep that. You know, you have to keep true to that and say, you know, I'm very busy, I can't today. Well, I take shoes, and then I'll just go for a walk somewhere, since, you know, you can't always transport the bike. But whatever it is that you find motivates you, you've got to schedule it. You've got to say, I have to do this because it sounds silly. I need 30 minutes to just go take a walk, you know, and I'll just go out and take a little walk. You come back totally changed. And then that instantly reflects on the kids. They can tell. When you're jumping around the classroom, goofing around, they know, you know, okay, this is safe, this is fun. Now they're believing it, you know, and they're believing your message. So I think that definitely you have to motivate yourself first, and then you're able to be a true reflection of motivation if you're pumping somebody up and that sort of thing.
And I have to practice the same thing with my pain and fatigue, and you know, I'm known for always saying amazing when people ask how I'm doing, and I don't feel like that. Some days it's just find myself that I'm amazing, you know. 4 out of 10 people in the world live on less than $2 a day. I'm no nicer than them. How do I get to live in Canada, never miss a meal, and how do they get to live in a third world country? So I have to remind myself daily of how to, you know, motivate myself, or else I'm no use motivating other people. So totally, and I can see where the physical action, walking, taking a bike ride, who knows, doing handstands, going to the gym,
eating ice cream.
Something that just gets you out and gets you in the fresh air, big smile on your face. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even just handing out with a school crossing guard, even if you're just doing that in the morning, you know, it puts a smile on your face, you're saying hi to everybody, you're giving treats for the dogs.
Oh, yes, I have to tell you, I mean, that gets anybody's day going. And I tell you, it came to me not as kind of a choice. Another male teacher retired, and he was the crossing guard, and we actually tried to get a janitor to do it. And he was a former U.S. Marine. He said, no, it's too cold. I'm not going out there anymore. So it fell on me, and he said, look, can you go out there and do crossing guard? It's, you know, 35 minutes a day. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Literally, the next day, I got 700, you know, waves, 700 smiles. I mean, it is so, I tell people, everybody should be able to go, you know, have 700 people wave hi and stick their arm out and throw you a donut hole every once in a while to get your day started. How would that not be awesome? You think about professional athletes coming through the tunnel, thousands of people, go, go, go. You know, wouldn't that be great if you were a banker and that's the way your day started every day, you know, 50,000 people, go, Bob, come on, you can do it. You know, you're going to have a great day at the bank, woo, you know. I mean, that would be, the crossing guard I love, love, love. And we do Canadian weather sometimes, so that is tough, but fun every day, every day.
It kind of reminds me like I'm a greeter at church, like once a month. And to me, it's like, wow, this is the coolest job in the world. I have an actual reason to shake everybody's hand and say hello to everybody.
You're exactly right. Same thing.
Yeah, it's like, wow, this is like so much fun, you know? And so, yeah, crossing guard would be fun, and especially little kids are always pretty cute, and so it would be nice to have that job.
They are.
Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, we have a few more questions. Let's get on to another one.
Okay. Life has its ups and downs, and if someone's always smiling, you're not really sure how they're doing. But here, you're quoted as saying pedal downhill when you can. Mr. Harrison, what do you mean by that?
When you get on a bike and you kind of go out for a while, you kind of lose, a lot of stress and that sort of thing. And there's a little bit, I'm not a professional biker by any means, but a lot of times here in the rolling hills of Missouri, I mean, there's some downhills and uphills, and it's a lot like life, and things kind of come to you. And one of the skills of riding a bike is if you're going downhill, and things are easy for you, and the breeze is in your face, it's real easy to just sit back on the pedals and just relax for a little bit. And to be honest with you, that's one of the big reasons I moved from running to biking. So, I mean, going downhill, taking a big drink of water is a great time. But there's a hill coming up. It may be in front of you. It may be in a minute. So when you have that opportunity, you've got to pedal when you're downhill, when you're going downhill. I think a lot of times things you can kind of tell in your life, it's like, wow, things are really rolling. Like with Gary, I made some car sales and things are going great. Business is really looking up again. Things are going well in the office. You got to pedal. And it's easy to just sit back and kind of let some stuff come to you, but quickly, like a bike going uphill, it'll start to get hard again. But if you've taken a little bit of time and said, hey, things are going easy now, I'm going to go ahead and do an extra report. I'm going to go ahead and push this strategy, and be able to kind of, instead of taking it easy, you kind of want a little break every once in a while, but especially like on the bike, it just always seems like if you can pedal downhill, when you go uphill, and you're going to go uphill again, it's going to get hard for you, it is so much easier. You'll find that if you start pedaling at the bottom of the hill, you've got a long way to go. But if you've gained some speed, you've got some momentum on your side, that hill doesn't get hard to the very, very top. And so much in life is kind of like that I've discovered, whether it's at home with my family, things are going great. Hey, let's go ahead and get that garden tapped out while things are pretty light around here. If at work, things are going really, really smooth, go ahead and take on some extra things. So I always just, and honestly, every time I hit it downhill, I'm like, pedal downhill. Okay. So you just hit that a little bit more, and I have found that in life it is so much easier because you're going to go uphill one of these days. The uphills are so much easier if you just pedal downhill a little.
Yes. I like pedaling downhill occasionally.
Yes. It's easier, and you can kind of see those times in your life, especially when you get to 40 years old like Tom and I,
Yeah, exactly. Now, I had lost this last question, so I'm going to have to get it in front of me again. But, you can, I know you also believe that we all need help from time to time from other people. And for many years of my life, I wasn't good at that. I wouldn't ask for help if my life depended on it. I know one time one of my sister's friends came up to her at school and said, it looks like Tom has a really hard time getting up and down stairs, and I feel like I should offer to help him. And my sister said, don't offer to help him, because he'll go right back up those stairs and he'll come down all by himself just to show you that he can do it. So just save yourself the aggravation and don't bother asking him. And, people will think, well, that's pretty cruel, but I thought, wow, good answer from my sister, because that's the type of person I was. But later on in life, during a few surgeries and a few, bouts of my arthritis, I did ask others for help. And wow, you know what? I found out A, I didn't mind asking for help, and B, people love to help. And so I eventually learned that not asking people to help when you need it is kind of like depriving them of the opportunity to be of service. And God created us to serve others. And if I'm depriving people of that opportunity, I'm really not helping myself, and I'm really not doing the best for them either, right?
Exactly. A big part of this whole process that we went through, and exactly like you said, financially times were tough on us, and we didn't ever want to take a handout or anything like that. And, you find yourself doggedly determined to do things by yourself. I'm out in the garage trying to, put something together. It could be a 3-person job real easy, but it's just, I think I can get this by myself. But so much of this whole process with the top teacher had to be a community sort of thing. And it really tied in, kind of what you were talking about, your dad being in a small town, how it's, everybody works together and everything. It really was like that, and I couldn't have gotten anywhere, in this whole process if it was just Donn Harrison and family by himself. The whole town rallied around. People at the grocery store. My son's in the Army, and he's down in Georgia, and he told everybody in his barracks they had to vote for Mr. Harrison. It's spider-webbed out like that. I could tell you 100 stories of people that came up to me that said, I told this, I told my brother, and they told everybody. And then people would come to you later and said, hey, we voted for you on that show. I know you don't know me, but my sister lives in Cameron, and she said I had to vote for you. So, having other people help you, it really brought about a real clear vision of that. As much as you want to say, I did this by myself, I've done this by myself, so many other people have helped you along the way, and it really does. It takes a whole bunch of other people, and you have to rely on them sometimes for help. Like I said, if it was just our family, we would have gotten 4 votes total, But everybody came together, and friends and family, and part of the process was that you could vote for 24 hours. And people said, we stayed up all hours voting for you. And my wife, the day of the show, my biggest fear was that I would oversleep or something. So my wife was up late voting, and someone, on Facebook said, Lynette, are you still up? It's 3 a.m. And she said, yes. And they said something that was just truly profound. They said, go to sleep. We've got this. And it's like, wow. The whole town helping you out and carrying you. You rely on them, and you think, it's just me doing it sometimes, but there are a lot of other people helping that you may or may not know. But yeah, Amen. That's something that really came clear to us, is that, sometimes you have to have the help of others.
Amen. And a student even started a Facebook page called Mr. Harrison is a Rock Star.
Yes, that was hilarious. That was actually several years ago, because it was her. She's a sweetie. Her mom and her would go through the intersection. She was a junior high student at the time, and they would just cut through the intersection. They weren't coming to our school in particular. It was a kind of a 4-way. And she said, here I am. I wear, a goofy hat. I have goofy things on my wand. I'm always smiling and waving like a goof. But she said they were having a big argument. Mothers and daughters apparently have arguments. Never knew that. But she said, we were having an argument and came to the intersection and both just busted out laughing because you were standing up there waving, handing out dog treats to somebody. And they said, he is kind of like a rock star. So she made this page, and the page blew up. I didn't know about it for several days afterwards. It had grown to like 100 people already before I knew about it, but it was hilarious. So, yeah,
wow.
I still get the nickname rock star every once in a while. But, yeah, it is truly, truly cool.
Amen. Well, I want to end this interview with a question that allows you to brag on your wife. Because Napoleon Hill's number 2 success principle was the Mastermind Alliance. And he said the ideal Mastermind Alliance, if you can have it, is between a husband and a wife. And he gave examples of Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Henry Ford's wife was likely smarter than him, and she was really, really, really instrumental in him getting to where he was. He wasn't the most educated person in the world and very determined, but she really, really, really was a mastermind partner for him. And Thomas Edison, if you read stories of his wife, and like he worked like endless hours, she was always up there when he got home, whatever hour of the night, to talk to him, work in his lab with him, bring him food, and so you can't be teacher of the year and teach 5-year-olds for 25 years and do all of the other things that you do over and above just the teaching job without knowing that your wife is 100% behind you, believes in you, trusts in you, and allows you to do those extra things for all the people you love and serve when it could take time away from her, could take time away from your kids. And so talk about that amazing mastermind alliance that you have with your wife and how basically her being behind you really helps you to do all the extra little things you do in your community.
Oh, exactly. She is amazing. And she's sitting 4 feet away from me now, so I'm going to score some serious bonus points. But she is an amazing lady and truly a great friend first. And in these very liberal times, you have to have a partner, whatever that partner is, whatever that relationship is. But truly having a life partner, a best friend, makes it amazingly easy. I couldn't do anything truly without her, and our relationship has rubbed off on our kids, and they see us laughing several times. It's kind of comical. They'll have to come in and say, "You guys are kind of being loud. We're trying to sleep. We're goofing around, pillow fighting." She is truly my best friend. She drove me when we were in college. I didn't have a car and she did, so I paid her gas money to take me on a date to another girl. I was dating another girl in town. So I paid her gas money, and she drove me back and forth. And she was that kind of friend, and we just developed our relationship. And I think God pushes you that way. And holy cow, it's been bumpy. Any relationship is sometimes bumpy, but it has been a blast. And her letter was too sweet. She wrote that, and she thought that the producers of the show would just write back and say, "Tell your husband thank you for all he's done," and she was going to give that piece of paper to me as a teacher appreciation gift. But it kind of did a little more than that, so it kind of got out of hand. But she is an amazing lady, I tell you, and everything you said is exactly true. She is a person that you can rely on for, is this idea work? Does this, what do we need? And then in the same breath, I get a fire call. It's a volunteer program here in town. I have to go fight fires. So she goes ahead and finishes the homework. She'll go ahead and finish the meal or take care of things. I work weekends on the ambulance and during the summer. So she's there for the kids to drive them here, drive them there. So truly, I would be a mere shell of the man, and I'm sure she'll remind me of that in 2 weeks when I goof up something. But if it wasn't for her, I tell you, I love her to death. She's an awesome lady. We have so many things planned in front of us and in front of our lives, and everything in that is together. What are we going to do? Where are we going to live? What are we going to plan? Those sort of things. Where are we going to travel? So it's truly a blessed relationship. And anybody, whatever that relationship is, whatever that looks like, to have that one-on-one relationship with somebody is like you said, very, very important to your life.
Amen. And it's probably one of the best testimonies for other Christians, people in the church. A long marriage is a testimony, because anyone who's been married more than 2 months knows there's ups and downs. And so 25 years, how many years you've been married, people know, okay, they've figured out a few ups and downs and they're still together. I guess we can do that too. Gary, why don't you speak to that? I know from doing some coaching with you that your wife is enormously important to all the things you do, and you got 3 kids too, and you work at a job where the hours can be long, and so I imagine your wife is your mastermind partner and someone you have to rely on a lot as well.
Oh, yes. Everyone says they have the most amazing wife, but I really believe that I do, Tom. She's my best friend as well. She's always been there for me, through life's ups and downs. She's a solid rock and a great mother. Don't make me cry. She's such a wonderful person. Well, I was talking to her today about, Mr. Harrison and I guess her oldest twins, Dominic and Damon Bodorf. Damon was in Mr. Harrison's class in kindergarten, and he remembers this to this day. He's now in 8th grade, going in 8th grade. Mr. Harrison told him that if he wore a tie, he could be in charge. And he still remembers that.
The guy with the tie.
The guy with the tie. But as far as my wife goes, Tom, I'm a blessed man to have met her and able to share my life with a wonderful person. So.
Amen. So the Bible verse, he who finds a wife finds what is good.
Good thing, yes.
It is true, especially the longer you hold on and the more challenges you go through, it strengthens a relationship more than weakens it. So that's a good message for everybody out there. Stick through the challenging times because they're going to build into an amazing relationship. Donn, as I said at the start, I interview some amazing, famous, big-time people, but this is the most exciting interview for me because I feel that teaching, and especially young kids, 5-year-old, as I mentioned, I don't think I could do it. I would probably be charged with something or probably fired or something for losing my patience. And so, the work you do creates a legacy because you're going to be remembered by those students and impact those students, their thinking and their lives long after they're gone from you. And so I'm extremely humbled and excited to have interviewed you. I was wondering had you ever thought of writing a book or putting something together about how to be a teacher of the year or how to do what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're tempted, but I think somebody already made the movie called Forrest Gump, and that's truly my life. That's all into it. It's like amazing. I think somebody already did that movie, but no. Yeah, I think, if I keep being cool guy in Cameron, and I always tell my boys, if I don't care about what award I get, as long as I'm the best dad, in your mind, I'm in good shape. But yeah, it's.
Amen.
Yeah, that would be an interesting book. I think somebody already wrote it.
And I think you're probably a little like me. I get accolades from people, and people, after talks or various things for various reasons, emails from people all over the world. Oh, you're so inspirational. I get embarrassed almost every time because I'm just an ordinary guy. I think in my head, watch me 24/7 for a month and then just see if you really admire me as much as you do now, right? I'm sitting at home watching TV in my pajamas half the time, writing these things on my website, and, follow me around for a month and then let me know how much you admire me because I just feel like, I'm just a regular guy, and you must feel like that as well, I imagine.
Exactly. I mean, it's like I said, you don't want to know how sausage is made. Hey, sausage is awesome. Whoa, wait till you see how it's made. Yeah, I'm a product of my environment, and I live in a beautiful, beautiful place with some really neat people around me, and that makes the difference.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Donn. It's been exciting for me, and I know I've been working with Gary over the last few weeks. He's been excited. He's been telling me all about you. I think he's in your fan club, maybe the president of your fan club, because he's really been pumping. He's been pumping your tires there, and so it's been exciting for me to talk to you. And what an enormous honor! And I can see that it comes from your faith. When you have that faith, you can be the best at whatever you are because you know you have God behind you. And I think that's one of the major keys to your success.
Exactly. And I want to thank you both. I mean, I'm honored to be here and think what you guys are doing are great, and honored to be able to help a little bit. So and I appreciate your kind words, and it's very, very awesome to be here.
Thanks so much, Donn. Thanks, Gary, for joining us at your very first show. Woo-hoo.
Yes, thank you very much.
Why don't you tell people, Gary, tell people one more time where to buy a car from you, please, like your email and your phone number.
Car City, 2 miles south of US 36 on the South Belt Highway. My phone number is 816-724-0376.
Amen. Thanks so much, guys. Have yourself an amazing day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Journey to Success Radio. If you or anyone you know would like to be interviewed for the show, email Tom at tom2tall.com for details.